Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Vidane TV. Little bit of Wednesday night action, just coming off the cups of Tim's Corner Motorsports Live. Brought one of the guys over there that helps host the show, did the social media job. Brandon Cabell coming in, joining us from north of the wall. Brandon, how we doing tonight, man?
Yeah, we're doing good. Like you said, just came over from Tim's Corner, and yeah, we are north of the wall. I thought the wall was Mexico, but we're north.
A little bit north, America's hat, as it were. But getting ready to have some Texas fun here under the Texas sky here, the Rattlesnake 150 here with the Lugz Racing League, and taking a quick peek there at the starting lineup. Tim Ortman Jr., the 00 on the pole. Jameson Middlemiss starting on the outside, and really looking forward to this race here. Got a lot of action coming up, and it's great to see these guys on a Wednesday night returning here for race number 3. A little bit of a caution-infused race last week, but we did get a new rule implemented where these guys do have an incident cap. And essentially what that means is if you get involved in any kind of incident, you get a point here with the iRacing service. And if you hit a certain cap or a certain number of points, you will be ejected from the race. So cleaning up the racing action just a little bit. So you can see the starting grid going through on your screen there. You can see Preston Perrier with a deep start back there in the 38 and the 18th position. Trevor Absher, yes, last season's champion, easy enough for me to say, starting in the 8th position, and drivers kind of scattered all the way throughout the field here. And just taking a quick peek, looks like we've got 33 cars making the call, lining them up down there on pit road, giving the fans one last good shot to take a still shot of these cars as they get ready to roll behind the pace car. 100 laps on the docket here at Texas Motor Speedway. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. It's I've never seen this league before. I'm not too familiar with the mile-and-a-half tracks. I actually don't even own Texas on iRacing, but it's nice to see new leagues run, and hopefully I can learn some of these guys by the end of the night.
Absolutely. These guys always put on one heck of a show. There you can see Trevor Absher in the 19 car. Very, very fast wherever he goes, and has a high confidence level here at Texas Motor Speedway after talking to him towards the end of the race last week. And really good to see these guys getting lined up. You can see 2 by 2 down in the bottom. Tim Ortman Jr. going to elect to take the bottom side on the initial restart. And he's going to have Jameson Middlemiss, another fast driver in the 16 car, out in the outside. Kenny Capola rocking a little bit of the Sasquatch special there in the double seven, starting in fourth. Kevin Ruff in third. Jimmy Apsher up in the 18 car with Joe Gibbs Racing, starting alongside Trevor Apsher, his son. So pretty cool to see. Tyler Smith starting 8, Ed Boyles Jr. ninth, and a pair of Hendrick Motorsports teammates with Wade Palmer the fourth, Wade Palmer the fifth behind him, rounding out the top 10 or 11 cars or so. Lights are off in the iRacing non-manufacturer specific pace car. Getting ready to make that hard left-hand turn one more time, or for the very first time here, as we take the initial green flag at Texas Motor Speedway. There he goes, the safety of pit road for the pit vehicle. Starting lap number 1 of 100. Green flag is out, and there we go. Even start on the front row. You can see the 16 of Middlemas goes all the way up to the wall to try and gain a little bit of momentum. They thunder on down into 1. It looks like the 00 of Tim Warman Jr. going to have the advantage.
And yeah, you know what, Paul, with these mile-and-a-half tracks, it's really the outside groove, the inside groove. They all kind of work the same, unlike the short track stuff, so I expect we'll see some of the guys that maybe start in the back, want to get to the front, will use that outside a little more than you'd see on the short track side of stuff.
Absolutely. Big open wide track here at Texas Motor Speedway. Lots of racing grooves, and I think throughout the night we're going to see a lot of those grooves start to open up as these guys are pretty much searching all over the racetrack to try and find which area is quicker. You see Tim Wortman Jr. has about a car length and a half over the number 8 car of Kevin Ruff. Kevin Ruff moving up into the second spot. Kenny Capola up to third. Jimmy Apsher and Jamison Middlemas dropping all the way back to fifth here early on. But still early on in the race here, working lap number 2 of 100. And there you can see the Skittles machine of Jimmy Apsher already moving up positions as well, as he's in the fourth spot.
Yeah, Paul, I was scrolling through the entry list earlier, and I actually saw it looked like a sole Canadian driver, but I didn't get his name.
Ian Yeager, the 37 car. There are a couple of Canadians that run in this league, but the 37 car, currently the only Canadian here tonight at Texas in the 37, running in the 27th position where he started. So a little bit of ground to make up by the end of the race. Long way to do it, but you can see a little bit of action here for second place. Kenny Capola trying to get to the back bumper now of Kevin Ruff to see if he can move into the back or into the second position. And right now he's just kind of following in behind his tire tracks, trying to see where he's loose, where he's quicker, where he's a little bit stronger, and all that good stuff. And you can see pretty even throughout the field here. A little bit of too wide action back here for second or third. How about that run in that middle groove for Trevor Apsher in the 19 car?
Yeah, and you see the middle groove starting to already work itself in, which I assume the high groove will by the end of this race. And these guys had practice before this, so you know they've done their runs, their long runs, their short runs. They've ran around with their cars, so I think they're pretty well prepared for this 100-lap race.
Absolutely. They just had a half-hour happy hour session or final practice before the race here at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and these guys practice all week long, especially starting right after the race at Phoenix last week. Made mention a little bit of a caution fest last week, but we are now into week number 3. Clean and green so far as we cross the stripe, working at lap number 6. And you can see not quite a conveyor belt race going on just yet. We are pretty much, for the most part, single file, but a couple of drivers starting to ease on up the racetrack, moving up to the middle and high grooves, trying to find some speed, trying to do a little bit of homework, a little bit of research for later on in the show here. We made mention long race here at Texas Motor Speedway, and these guys want as much speed as they possibly can get. You can take a look now at a pair of Hendrick Motorsports car, Ed Boyles Jr. in the 5, the 24, and Wade Palmer the 5th, and you can see caution on the racetrack, looking like Keith Hume Sr. has spun around in the 1 car, and there you can see, big time damage to that number 1. And Brennan, this gives us an opportunity to pull up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay for the very first time tonight.
Yeah, we'll see what happened here. You know, earlier race, the tires probably don't have the heat they'd like into it yet, so it looks like, a little bit of contact, actually.
A little bit of contact there between the 1 and the 7. We're pulling it up now here on the replay, and you can see the 1 car, it looks like the spotter might have fallen asleep at the wheel there. Big hit on the outside safer barrier. That explains why that's the front of that car looking like an open tour type modified there. You can see sits there for a moment, kind of gathers his breath, and tries to get that thing to turn right and get spun around, but it looks like there's some steering issues as well as potentially some internal motor damage on that number 1 car. So we'll see him down on pit road. Ken Hume Sr. Going to try and get the virtual hammers, bang out some of the damage on that race car, but it's going to be a long night there for the one crew.
And we made mention they had the half an hour practice before this, and they've been testing all week long. Hours and hours and thousands of laps for some of them, and that's definitely not how you want your race to pretty much end on lap 8.
And there's a big teammate aspect here as well. A lot of these drivers work together, and it's really easy to follow along with this league. The teammates that you're seeing on screen, they kind of compare to, or they compare directly to the NASCAR Cup Racing team. So the Hendrick Motorsports guys here on the Loose Lugs Racing League, their teammates, Richard Childers Racing, and they run real sponsors as well, as far as essentially different paint schemes from each of the drivers. And it's really cool to see there's a lot of different kind of mashups, a little bit of real world sponsorship jumping in on these sim cars, and you'll see some cool paint schemes as well, with maybe some sponsors that don't quite that you normally wouldn't see. But really easy to follow along here, and a lot of times with the team aspect here in the Loose Lugs Racing League, we hear from Trevor Apsher all the time, who's young, doesn't quite have as much time as he'd like, and he'll be the first one to admit to practice each and every week. So he kind of relies a lot on his Joe Gibbs Racing teammates to kind of give him feedback on what the car is doing. These guys run fixed setups here each and every Wednesday night. So those guys will go out, they'll do some testing, find out what the setup's going to do, and pass it on to their teammates. So really cool to see the team aspect here in the Loose Lugs Racing League. And these guys always bring the thunder every Wednesday night when we watch them live here on Verdane TV.
Yeah, for sure. And to a fan that just watches, they think, it's not a team sport. It's just one guy driving the car. But test sessions, even with my racing team, we do test sessions almost, every day. It's not just one guy. It's the feedback from everybody. It's the driving styles of everybody, and it takes a lot to run a successful team here.
100%. And just want to give a quick shout out to everybody watching on Facebook and on YouTube. It looks like we finally got some of the demons squared away with Facebook Live, so we're able to stream back over on the Verdane TV Facebook page. We're over on YouTube as well. Be sure to give us a like, a follow, a subscribe, all that good stuff, especially over there on the YouTube page. You can check out over 550 live iRacing shows that we've done over the past year and a half or so on demand. And man, oh man, it's been exciting, and we're getting ready to get into the fall and winter months here. As excited as I am and as everybody is for the real racing all across the country, all across Canada, especially up there in the Maritimes. We're good friends with Tim's Corner Motorsports and all of the tracks that Tim services and kind of helps out with news and all that good stuff. Really excited for the iRacing seasons coming up. Tim's Corner Motorsports bringing in. Tim sent me the soft schedule here about a week ago, and I still have to get back to him and confirm all the dates. But lots of big races coming up. The 333 Hallahan Tribute Race. I believe we're doing Bristol again this year, and lots of big stuff. The All-Star Showcase coming up in April of 2022, and NEPS is coming back. The New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Series. They're coming back October 5th, and our very own Kyle Young going to be piloting the 93 to a part-time schedule with that series, and they're going to actually be bringing in the Knoxford 250 race as well. So lots of big-time stuff coming up here in the fall and winter series, and obviously right now, watching the Loose Lugs Cup Racing Series on Wednesday nights, each and every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow night, Multi-League Cup Series going to be here for Michigan, the final race into their chase, into the playoffs. We're going to find out which 16 of those drivers are going to be eligible for the championship this season. And it's been great watching those guys on Thursday nights. Going to be myself and Mike James from Mike on the Rock up at Eastbound Park going to be joining us here. And Brandon, if it's not past your bedtime, you're welcome to come out and check out some Michigan racing tomorrow night too.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't heard his voice. I haven't heard in a while, so it'd be nice to reunite with all you guys. And I've got a busy schedule till the rest of right into October. But thinking of the Tim's Corner leagues and thinking of everything that goes on in the winter, I can't wait to get back at it. It's a lot of fun. I've met some of my best friends on iRacing over in the States, so I'm gonna have to make a trip down to you guys one day.
Absolutely, and one of the things that really been in the back of my mind is Speed Weeks 2022. I've been trying to get down to Daytona for a very long time, and tried getting down there this year. COVID jacked that all up, and we're going to try this year again, 2022. We're going to try and make a Verdane TV party down there. I know Wes Hogue always at Daytona. One of the founding fathers here at Verdane TV, Kyle Young, I believe, is going down. The whole Tim's Corner Motorsports caravan or party or or Daiquiri Club is going down as well. So we'll uh, we'll see who we bump into down there at Daytona International Speedway. But there you see the iRacing non-gender specific, non-manufacturer specific pace car going to dip on down pit road for the second time tonight. Restart lap number 12. Green flag in the air. Tim Wortman Jr. down to the bottom once again, and Kevin Ruff up on the high side in the 8 car, even as they head on down into turn number 1.
And Paul, have you tried a strawberry daiquiri yet?
I have. I'm actually a big fan of strawberry daiquiris. It's well, we like to bust on Tim just a little bit because well, you think of full-grown men, you don't really think of a strawberry daiquiri, but I got to tell you, one of the best drinks you can get is either a strawberry daiquiri, strawberry banana smoothie, or anything like that. If you can add a little bit of alcohol to it, it always adds just a little bit of pizzazz. But A&TB always reminds you to drink responsibly, by the way. And speaking of drinking responsibly, be sure to check out Kong Beer Bong, kong.2drunk.net, associate sponsor here with A&TB. And we got a battle for second. Kenny Capola cranking up that Sasquatch juice, trying to get into P2, trying to get in underneath Kevin Raff and Kevin Ruff. Easy enough for me to say the first time. And the 8 car in the second position is right on board. Looking out the windshield at the clean air from Tim Wortman Jr.
Yeah, and Tim Wortman Jr. looks like he's got this thing dialed in. He's done his homework. He's been maintaining about a car length in front of the guy in second, but he's been out front the 14 laps, making sure he's staying out of the trouble and keeping that car clean for the end. But we see a good battle for, right to the top 5. You could throw a blanket right on top of them.
A little bit of a 4-car breakaway, now 5 as Jimmy Apsher trying to close in the back bumper of his son, Trevor Apsher. And you can see those Joe Gibbs Racing teammates working about the same line, a little bit further back. You can see a few cars back anyway. In the 6th position is David Douthwaite. Wade Palmer, the 5th, is in 6th. Ed Boyles Jr., his teammate, still right behind him. That 5 and the 24 camp working pretty well together. And then a little bit of 2x2 action. Here you can see a big move for the 11 car, trying to move on down low. Wayne Bowen trying to get himself around Sean Rhodes there in the 42 car, but right now it's looking like the two sides are pretty much even. A little bit quicker down on the bottom side if you've got some drafting help, but still side by side, the 42, the 52 battling for that 9th position.
Yeah, the aerodynamics on these cars, it's just insane. You can wrap the bottom, you have the center speed, but if you're up top, you get that drive off the corner, and if you can pinch the guy in the bottom a little bit, you take away all the momentum he has. So we'll see both, actually probably even 3 lanes come in this race, and it'll definitely be interesting.
For sure, and Texas Motor Speedway always puts on a great show. It calls to mind back when Verdane used to be a racing league. We'd run late models here at Texas Motor Speedway, and it actually produced one of the best races in the league history for Verdane Racing back, I want to say 10 years ago, back in 2011. Holy cow. Showing my age just a little bit. Been doing this sim racing deal for a long time and been doing the TV deal here for about a year and a half, riding on board with that 52 car of Drew Moffitt. You can see trying to close in on the back bumper of the 11 car there of Wayne Bowen. Just kind of going back and forth. Ooh, a little bit of grass there for the 11 car, but it doesn't seem to upset the car as he dips on down low underneath the 5 car of Ed Boyles Jr., slides him on up to 9th.
As we've been watching some of the in-cars, these guys, you can just see how smooth they are with the wheel, Not much trouble. Turning. Oh, contact in the back. Wow, that's a big hit.
Big hit for Preston Purrier in the number 38 car. Finally comes to a stop there on the backstretch. Going to bring out caution flag number 2, and you can see Preston Purrier calling for that reset button. So he's going to be sitting down on pit road. May very well be done for the evening, but it gives us an opportunity once again to pull up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay, and you'll be able to see a little side-by-side action with the 38 here of Preston Purrier and the number 2 of Bobby Justice up there on the outside, and just really looked like a couple of cars going for the same piece of real estate. Oh man, violent crash and spin for the 38 car, kind of playing a little bit of Plinko off of the field. A handful of cars getting some front end damage with that, and being that we're about 20 laps in, I think we might see some pit stops here. We'll take a look down pit road and see what these drivers are going to do. But Tim Wortman Jr. still holding on to the lead, and there he goes. He's going to make that left-hand turn, come down pit road. Looks like the rest of the field is trying to figure out what they're doing, but here they come. Everybody going to come down for 4 tires and fuel. Might potentially see a couple of two-tire stops. You can actually see the 52 car if Drew Moffitt stays out to lead a lap. Ken Ellert, the number 23, is going to stay out as well. But the rest of the field coming down pit road to get some service on these machines.
And we've seen the leader. He's been out front the whole night in the 00. So I feel like this is kind of a follow the leader game on pit road. You can tell he's got it figured out. So whatever he does, and we see the whole field follow him down pit road.
Yeah, and it's early on still here in the race. It looks like the 2 car missed his pit stall. He had to back up and drive up around some of the cars. There you see the 8 car is going to win the race off a pit road. Great stop there for the Kevin Ruff machine. It's going to come out of the pit road in position number 4. 3 cars stayed out. Drew Moffitt, Ken Eller, and Colin Zemer. There you see Trevor Absher comes out in 5th. Tim Wortman Jr., Kenny Capola, Jimmy Absher, Dave Douthwaite, and Wayne Bowen. And the rest of the crew, or the rest of the cars, coming down pit road. And you can see still about a half dozen, 8 cars or so on pit road with damage from that 38 car spinning kind of violently throughout the field there. So they're going to get the issues worked out and get the damage hopefully repaired down there. And we'll see what these 3 cars up front have. They've got 20-lap old tires underneath the race cars, but at this point and this venture of this race, they still have an extra set down there on pit road. I want to say these guys have about 3 sets of tires, plus the ones on the race car. And you see the 52 is actually going to come down pit road, give up that lead. So it's going to be Ken Ellert out front, Colin Zemer right beside him, and then Kevin Ruff, Trevor Absher, the first 2 cars with 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Going to be good on the restart, and you can see the lights are still on the iRacing pace car. Going to give these guys an opportunity to kind of collect their heads, collect their thoughts just a little bit, and it'll give us just a quick opportunity to pay a few bills. We're going to go to commercial break, but we'll be right back for the restart. Don't go anywhere. The action about to pick up.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Hey, I'm CTWE wrestler The Mac.
And I'm Showtime Stevie Stamos.
Have you ever dreamed of owning your own race car and taking it out for a test drive? Well, thanks to our friends at Rent a Race Car, you can!
Visit www.rentaracecarne.com for all the details on how you can take one of these babies out to Stafford Motor Speedway. We'll see you at the races.
Touchdown!
Always great to hear from our friends at Rent a Race Car. Check them out on Facebook. Do a quick search for Rent a Race Car. They pop right up, and we share a lot of their content on the Verdane TV Facebook page as well. Still booking rides for next season, 2022. But all booked up this year because of the rain. Lots of different dates getting filled in. I'm still trying to get myself into one of those cars this year. It's a team that rents out street stocks at Stafford Motor Speedway. No experience necessary if you wanted to try out racing and didn't want to spend all the money on a truck, a car, a trailer, all that good stuff. We bring it to you to the track. Rent a Race Car. Check them out on the web as well. rentaracecarct.com. And you can see the lights are off on the iRacing pace car. Getting ready to go green once again. Going to be an interesting restart here, Brandon. 2 cars out front. The 23 of Ken Ellert, the 32 of Colin Zemer, a Toyota and a Ford. No tires. Didn't come down pit road. Everybody behind them has 4 tires. So Gonna be a sketchy restart here, but we'll keep an eye on it. Green flag is in the air. So far, so good. A big jump from the 47 car on the outside. Technically legal in the iRacing sim. I don't know if the administration is going to like that. Looks like Alonzo King going to tuck back in behind the 24 car up in the 12th spot.
Yeah, it was definitely a big jump. One of those gray areas for sure. As we're 3 wide around the 5th, 6th, 7th position, and we see the 00. He's trying to make his way back up to the front after that pit stop, and he's sideways contact, and they're both down pit road now.
Contact between the Joe Gibbs Racing teammates. The 11 and the 18 get into each other, still clean and green. So you can see the 11 tearing up the landscaping just a little bit. But they are able to save it and continue on. Going to lose a lot of time, but the caution is going to stay in the holster for now. Kevin Ruff up into the lead. You can see Tim Mormon Jr. has gotten around the 23 car as well. Ken Eller, the tires on that car showing their age. There goes the 19, the other Joe Gibbs Racing teammate of Trevor Absher. He's going to get on around, and you can see the 32 car has slid all the way back to 6th position here on those older tires, so might not have quite been the call here early on, but it's good to do. You see a little bit of a wiggle there coming out of turn number 2 as the 20 of Palmer tries to get on by and does so down in the bottom side. So it's good to do that kind of call early on in the race here, but going to be a long green flag stretch here for that 32 car, it seems.
Yeah, it's one of those calls where you try it to see if it works, and it's definitely looking like they're struggling with those 2 cars on the older tires, and they're really hoping for a yellow, so they have their chance to get their tires. But these guys up front, they're hoping this stays green, and it's looking good. It's a straight line from 1st to about 6th or 7th, so we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, and you can see doing a little bit of conveyor belt action. These drivers giving plenty of room throughout. They don't want to have a repeat of last week, and racing already much cleaner here. The admins, race officials, adding in that incident cap here tonight. So each incident that you're involved in, you get a point from the iRacing sim, and once you hit a certain point, if it's multiple instances, you can see the 6th car going down a 1 lap there. Joshua Noland in that number 6 Mustang. But if you hit that incident cap, it disqualifies you and ejects you from the race to kind of prevent multiple cautions happening from the same group of drivers or so. But you can see we got about a 6-car breakaway. 24 Palmer going down low, the 23 of Ellert side by side for 5th and 6th, and Colin Zemer back here kind of by himself just a little bit. No pressure in front, no pressure in behind. And Tyler Smith now in the 96 car leading the charge in this kind of 2nd or 3rd pack. About 5 or 6 cars. Tommy Kelly's back here, Ed Boyles Jr. in the 5. Sean Rhodes a little bit further on back. Jameson Middlemiss, and you can see Alonzo King has some big-time damage in the front of that car as well. So drivers kind of spread out at Texas so far, working lap number 29, clicking them off. Caution flag comes out once again. Ian Yeager, the lone Canadian, appears to be off track.
Well, it's a good thing I didn't take my pick to win early, because I think that might have just gone out the window with all the damage on the 37 car.
You can see kind of crinkled up on the back end, and a little bit of damage there on the front too. So we'll pull up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay and find out exactly what happened. I believe it was a multi-car incident, but definitely a multi-car incident. We got a little SpaceX action happening here. We'll load up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay and give it to you here. Coming out of the corner, you can see contact. Well, there was already contact happening. There's a backflip from the 15 car tumbling all the way through. That was a big hit for that 15 car. See if we can back that up one more time. That was Ryan Kling, and he finally comes to a rest, sticks the landing there on the front straightaway grass, and man, oh man, you can see as we rewind it, there was a couple of flips there. The 16er was around, and looks like that's where the initial contact happens. The 15 and the other Joe Gibbs Racing car, the number 20, kind of pancaked the wall, and there you see big flip for the 20, big flip for the 15. The 62 is involved as well. A lot of damaged race cars. There you see Jimmy Absher in the Skittles ride getting on by scot-free, and doing shades of Michael Waltrip there in the 15 car, getting all those flips done, but finally comes to a rest. That car looks like it's done. 62 car, there you see, is missing the hood. Black smoke coming out from that car as well. So a little bit of a race of attrition. You see the 38 still on pit road, the 20's down there as well, and the 15. So Uh, and looks like the second half of the track coming down, or second half rather, of the field coming down pit road. Everybody else staying out. Kevin Ruff, still your leader.
To somebody that's never been on iRacing, you might think this is just a video game, but it's a simulator. So everything that a real life car would do is simulated into this service. So although it's not real life, those cars they're pretty much done for the night with all the damage on them, and it's definitely not what you want on lap 31 out of 100.
Just about a third of the way through the distance here, 100 laps on the docket here at the Texas Motor Speedway for the Rattlesnake 150, race number 3 in the season for the Lugz Cup Series, newly branded league. Last season they were the Fatheads Cup Series, and they brought the thunder here on Wednesday night. Easy to follow along at home. They've got the NASCAR Cup Series teams, so you can see there's a Richard Childress Racing number 8 car, Kevin Ruff. He's leading the race. Joe Gibbs Racing in second, and on throughout the field, Hendrick Motorsports, Joe Gibbs Racing. All of the different NASCAR Cup teams are in here, and all of the. One of the cool things is these guys they're able to change the paint schemes from race to race if they ever so chose. Thanks to the Trading Paints app set up by Steve Lavender way back, almost about a decade ago. Brought into the iRacing service, and pretty much everybody that runs the iRacing has the Trading Paints service. So these guys are able to kind of pick up different Cup Series paint schemes, and it's cool to see throughout, especially some of the throwback races here at Darlington we've got on the schedule, and all sorts of good stuff. So big fan of the different paint schemes. Pretty cool to see kind of cycling in and out. It's one of those deals where you have to watch for a couple of weeks to try and get used to the names and numbers, just like any other league. But very cool. These guys put on one heck of a show here each and every Wednesday night, and racing action's been pretty good here so far.
Yeah, for sure. And then I know we don't know any of these guys that make these paint schemes, but we've got to give the credit to them because they're all custom created by people like us using, Photoshop and apps similar to that. So all these race cars have been custom made, and it's really cool to see what some people can do on this sim.
100%. Doing a little gyro cam action with your leader. You can see from Kevin Ruff what he sees right behind that pace car, and the lights are still on. Giving these drivers some time to kind of communicate back and forth. Each of the teams has their own separate voice channel, and all the drivers are connected together with the iRacing voice chat as well. If this is something you wanted to check out for yourself, maybe you got a little extra time, or you want to keep the racing hot in the fresh, hot in the back of your mind there for the off season, to the cold winter snowy months, check out iRacing.com. They're always running different promotions for new subscribers. Pretty cool little deal. It runs you about $9 a month, each track and car combo. A couple of extra bucks, but man, oh man, is it worth it. Each of these tracks and cars laser scanned, and they feel really good. Always coming out with different updates throughout the year. But check out iRacing.com. This is something you want to check out. A lot of the leagues that we host here on Verdane Racing, or Verdane TV rather, are always looking for new drivers, always looking for new sponsors and advertisers as well. So if any of these leagues interest you, definitely shoot us a message on the Verdane Facebook page. These guys you can reach out to as well, facebook.com/LooseLugs Racing League, and we're all linked up on the Verdane TV page as well. But there you see, lights off on a pace car, getting ready to go 2x2 all the way throughout the field. Kevin Ruff taking the bottom side, and Trevor Absher, last year's champion, going to start on the outside, and right behind them, Tim Ortman Jr., Kenny Capola, and Wade Palmer V, rounding out the top 5. Getting ready for a restart once again here on lap number 34.
For sure, Paul. This whole iRacing deal, it's insane. I mean, I've been in races with Xfinity drivers like Ty Gibbs and Josh Berry, and guys that are successful in real life, and the only chance I'll ever have to be on a track with them is on iRacing. So it's super cool to see the different kind of people you meet on here, and it simulates a real life race car for the people like us that maybe can't afford a Cup Series ride.
Or the people like us that have race cars that won't start.
Yeah, I might have to come rent a race car someday. It might be my only time on track this year.
100%. But green flag is in the air. Pretty clean restart. Well, just as I say that, the 2 and the 32 having a little bit of a discussion there on the front straightaway, but they hold on to it. They both get down to the apron, still clean and green. We're not going to be happy with that. Bobby Justice as well, trying to get that car back up to speed. And as we were looking at that, side by side now for the lead, riding on the hood for Trevor Absher, trying to make the magic happen on the outside, getting around the long way. Kenny Capola trying to push him with all his might, all that Sasquatch juice in the 77 car, all over the back bumper, the number 19. Battle for the lead, battle for second on, back to fourth as well.
Paul, we can see just exactly how close these guys get. You know, it's one mistake, it'll ruin your race, and in this field, you know how tight they are. It could ruin 30 other cars too. So you see how close they get to each other, how much respect they give, and it's a lot of fun. I'm definitely enjoying my first time here.
And you're able to see a lot of different camera angles here, brought to you by TrackCams22.com. Does a lot of work with the iRacing cameras, giving us some unique looks here, different cameras, different dynamic cameras, little contact between the two lead cars, the 8 and the 19. They bounce off of each other. No harm, no foul, but now we're 3 wide for the lead. Tim Wortman Jr. saw that contact, says, hey, I want to get down there and try and lead this thing. Nope, thinks better of it. Going to tug in the back tire tracks of the number 8 car, and Trevor Absher going to pull away with the lead as Kenny Capola and Kevin Ruff battle it out for second.
Yeah, and Absher's hoping right now that those guys and everybody behind them stay side by side. You know, he can get that gap, he can maintain it, and you save his stuff a little bit, keep his nose clean. So he's hoping really the whole field behind him just keeps doing what they're doing and slows themselves down, because he's got a pretty good lead built already.
And you can see first and second and third, pretty much single file. Tim Wortman Jr. back in there as well. David Douthwaite having a solid top 5 run, and then it's a gaggle of cars back here for 6th and 7th. You can see the 3-car Tommy Kelly. He's up 22 spots since the start of this race here. Currently running in the 6th spot. Wade Palmer the 5th, holding on the outside. Behind him, Drew Moffitt, Ken Ellert. That sounded like a big hit there. Yellow flag going to come out. Didn't quite see it, but definitely heard it with that last camera shot. And you can see the field coming to a slow. And we'll pull up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay. It looks like the Hendrick Motorsports number 9 of Matt Mackin off the pace. So maybe we'll take a look at the Kong Beer Bog instant replay, and we'll start it off with that 9 car.
Yeah, we're backing it up quite a bit here to see what happened, aren't we?
Yeah, it's maybe 9 cars off the pace, it looks like. Trying to see, Chris Spear has jumped to the pits, so it might have been the 7 car involved here. We'll back it up again. One of the things with the iRacing area is he is definitely pointed in the wrong direction, and a little bit of contact there. Big hit as well. Looks like he got his Skittles all over the racetrack, but we'll take a peek here. Kong Beer Bong instant replay for this caution. Keep an eye on that number 7 car, and you can see comes up on the high side, tries to get on the low side, and there's the contact between he and I believe that's I didn't catch the number on that car, but the white and blue car spinning on through, and the Schulter Systems number 7 car toast. Big hit for that car. You can see damage all the way around on all 4 corners of the race car. Doesn't there he goes, grabs the brakes and hits that reset button. That's one of the perks here at the iRacing world, the simulation world as it were. You wreck the car, you can hit the reset button. It doesn't really hurt except for the pride. The pride's a big thing here in the sim racing world.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, a lot of these guys race with each other in this league and other leagues week after week after week all year long. So you definitely don't want to make enemies, because that makes your life a lot tougher. It's just like real life, right? Now, obviously, there's some guys, you know, you can race a little harder, and there's some guys that you really just want to stay away from. But it's the respect is huge on the sim for the most part.
And we've made mention lots of big-time, kind of well-known names throughout the iRacing service. A lot of NASCAR drivers and drivers from all different walks of life and all different racing discrepancies. And we made mention a couple of times here on the show that the NEPS League is coming back, the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Group. They're going to be kicking it off at Daytona here on October 5th. Running multiple days of the week, a couple of Monday shows, some Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, kind of throw it in there. They got a 250 race, 250 lapper at Oxford that's going to be on the docket with a big qualifying race for that as well. And each and every single one of those drivers in the NEPS League, they either drive a late model or they work at a racetrack, work on a pit crew, or they're somehow involved in real racing. And those guys always bring the thunder. They always bring the action as well. And they always bring one heck of a fan base, and it's always good to have the NEPS guys around and the Verdane TV faithful. And again, we want to thank you guys for tuning in on Facebook, tuning in on YouTube, on Twitch, all that good stuff. here for the Loose Lugs Cup racing here tonight, the Rattlesnake 150 at Texas Motor Speedway. If you missed us earlier on, I am Showtime Paul Strickland Jr., the Big Show Paul Strickland Jr. I think we're going to switch on over since that name is kind of freed up a little bit. Brandon Campbell joining me from north of the border, and a caution flag number 4 here. Relatively clean race so far. A couple of single and double car incidents, a couple of big hits for some of these guys towards the back of the pack, but we can see there's probably 10 or so cars with damage on pit road, 20 cars on the lead lap, the last one being Jimmy Absher, who was involved in that last little mishap there. But his son, Trevor Absher, last season's champion, up there in the front, the number 19 Toyota, up 7 spots on the night. Kenny Capola running in second, Kevin Ruff, Tim Wortman Jr., Dave Douthwaite, Tommy Kelly, Wade Palmer the fifth, Drew Moffitt, Sean Rhodes, and Ken Eller rounding out the top 10. And, man, it's great to have the fans here of AIM TV. Again, give us a like, subscribe, a share, all that good stuff. I'll let your friends know that you're watching some iRacing action here on a Wednesday night. Working lap 41. Probably going to get the restart with lap 43 or so. Coming out of turn number 4. We assume the lights are going to go off when we cross the line. Going to line these guys up 2 by 2 throughout the field. Go racing green flag once again here at Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, and some people don't really understand how tough this actually is. You know, it's 33 cars in this field, all side by side, bumper to bumper, and it takes a lot to get used to, and that's probably why we're sitting up here in the booth tonight, not down on the track.
For sure, and it's a lot of times these drivers will work together. These guys race with each other each and every week, and they practice with each other, especially the groups of teammates throughout, usually running 3-4 car teams, and a couple of the satellite teams kind of match up with the bigger teams as well. So these guys are pretty familiar with each other, so a lot of times they'll go out, they'll learn the track, learn the setup, learn the car, and the first half of the race or so, they kind of take it easy, learn how each of these drivers is going to react to the setup and the racetrack, and from there on out, the racing picks up the intensity more and more throughout the race. And with the caution, the 33 gets the wave by Bonafide. Guy Bonafide puts the 21st car on the lead lap and in that number 33. So lots of drivers still in the fight here. Matt Mack and Colin Zemer, Bobby Justice still in the fight as well, just a lap or 2 down. All lined up, though, 2 by 2 throughout the field. Green flag getting ready to come out. The iRacing lights, iRacing pace car shut the lights off. He's going to go down on pit road, grab himself a strawberry daiquiri or a Coke or whatever it is he's drinking down there. On pit road, we're going to see the green flag, Trevor Absher on the inside, Kenny Capola on the outside.
Yeah, and we're expecting, you know, it's not even to halfway yet. So you think a lot of these guys, especially at the front, are just going to relax, get in line, follow each other around, keep their stuff clean, and just the main thing is being there at the end of the race, right? It's 100 laps, a lot can happen. We started 33, it looks like about 25-ish left, so there's a lot of room on the track, but there's not really at the same time, if that makes any sense. So it's close racing, but you just need to be alive at the end to win the race.
And in many cases, you'll see the bottom side on the racetrack is the way to be. But here at Texas Motor Speedway, a little bit different. The high side very, very strong, and we've seen that happen here in real life as well as the iRacing simulated world. And the top 3 kind of single file right now. David Douthwaite under attack from the inside and the outside. Kenny Capola in the 77 trying to make the magic happen. Tim Wortman Jr. there in the 00 as well. And the 3 of Tommy Kelly trying to join the party as well. But racing is really starting to pick up here, 5 laps shy of halfway as they cross the stripe, and great racing here at Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm not really into this like 1.5 mile stuff. I'm more of a short track guy, but when I see people drive around these tracks, it just looks insane. It's so tough, and it's so hard to drive side by side with guys, but you can tell the respect's here. They've done their homework, they've done their practice, and it makes for a good race at the end of it.
Absolutely, and I'm not much of a racer at all. I'm not very good. I do enjoy it, but I'm not very quick. That's why I'm up here in the production trailer, not down there in the cars. And it's great to see. It's great to follow along the stories throughout the Loose Lugs Cup Series and all the different leagues that we carry here on AIM TV. And we made mention the schedule picking up here for the late summer, the fall, the winter series as well. Trying to get everything ironed out, and we're actually working on a new app brought to you by Brendan Elder, a good friend of ours, as well as Full Throttle TV, working on a new app to have the schedule out, and gives us an opportunity as well to learn some of the things about the drivers and all that good stuff. And the Neps League, check them out on Twitter. They're going to be coming back, and they're doing driver profiles throughout the next couple of weeks, the next month or so, as Caution 5 comes out here on lap 47.
Yeah, and you start to see that the battles start to intensify a little bit. You know, the tires are wearing in. It might not drive how you want to, and we're going to back it up and see what happened.
Yeah, pulling up the Kong Beer Bong instant replay, and again, looks like the spotter might have been asleep at the wheel here, but we'll take a peek here. Middle miss in the number 16 car alongside the number 42 of Sean Rhodes. Sean Rhodes up on the high side and comes back, and it looks like the 16 trying to move it up the racetrack just a little bit. Gets tagged once again. Some contact. The 41 looks like he got a piece of it as well, of Josh Battles. But the 16 grabs the gear. He gets that thing spun around. It looks like trying to get that thing spun around anyway. But big time damage to the rear and the front of that car. Waits for the field to get on by. Gentleman move there. And he's going to drive down pit road, get the virtual hammers, and see if they can get that thing back on track.
And these things are so different compared to, you know, the Renault race car cars or the mini stock I drive where damage doesn't affect them. But here at these big tracks and the aero packages on these cars, damage really affects you quite a bit.
For sure. I've never been on anything bigger than a half mile myself, and I've never been anything bigger than a street stock. I've run the Renault race car a couple of times at Stafford Motor Speedway, and I can tell you the track itself being laser scanned by the iRacing group is dead on. The accuracy is very, very good. Braking points are all similar to that of real life, and it's insane to see what we can do. As you can see, Trevor Apsher rather quick off the trot on pit road. He's going to lead the race off. 23 of Ken Eller. It looks like he stayed out again here under caution. Trevor Apsher, Kevin Ruff, Dave Douthwaite, Kenny Capola, Tim Wortman Jr., Drew Moffitt, Oyd Palmer the fifth, Ed Boyles Jr., and Wayne Bowen, the top 10 cars off of pit road. We'll see if the 23 car comes down this time by. Might have just stayed out to lead himself a lap. You can see the number 2 car right behind him, going to get the free pass once we get one to go. But going to be crossing the stripe here for halfway, 50 laps in, 50 laps to go, and everything looking relatively decent here. A couple of caution flags, a couple of multi-car incidents, but we made mention once again after last week's race, a new rule implemented by the race officials, an incident cap. Once you hit a certain amount of race incident points from the iRacing service, each time you hit another car, or if you go off track or hit the wall, it gives you a point. Once you hit a certain number of those points, you get ejected from the race. So the race officials here at the Lugz Cup Series trying to get the racing cleaned up here, and it's been doing relatively good. We've only seen a couple of 2 or 3 car incidents, but we're not seeing multiple single car incidents or anything like that. So racing is doing good, and the race officials want to put on one heck of a show here for the fans with the crowd here of Verdane TV. And again, we thank you for tuning in on Facebook and on YouTube as we cross into halfway. The big show, Paul Strickland, up here in the booth alongside Brandon Campbell here live on Verdane TV, the Rattlesnake 150 at Texas Motor Speedway here with the Lugz Racing League. Tomorrow night, multi-league Cup Series action at Michigan. Myself and Mike James from Eastbound Park going to be making the call. Last race into the playoffs tomorrow night for those guys. Going to find out which 16 drivers going to be eligible for the championship. And then a little bit more playoff action Monday night, 80 laps at Daytona for the Trans-Service Cup Series by Sim 500. We've just saw this past Monday Chad Coleman coming home with his first win in the series, the first win of the year, and he has locked himself into that playoffs. And still 3 or 4 drivers on the bubble trying to race their way into that championship to see who can come home with the victory. And as well, those guys over at Sim 500, just like Multi-League, they run 7 days a week, twice on Sunday. So if you're looking for some racing action, definitely check those leagues out on Facebook and throughout the iRacing forums, the iRacing website, and all that good stuff. But there you can see Barney in the flag stand still holding that caution flag. Lights should go out this time. We're going to line them up 2 by 2, try and get this thing clean and green for the second half of the race.
That poor flagman. His arm must be tired by now. He's done thousands and thousands of races.
Yeah, I hope they're paying him good.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like Caleb Urquhart from up here on Five Flags. He wore it in so much they had to repave the track. So maybe it's time for maybe a new flagman or something. But he's been put to work, that's for sure.
I wonder what you would have to do to apply to be a flagman in iRacing.
I wonder too. Like, do they scan the actual movements of a flagman? Like, who got that job to be the flagman they scan for iRacing?
Well, one of the cool things here, and I don't think I can get a free camera here as live on the show, but the iRacing crowd, the faces are actually iRacing employees and some big names in the iRacing community. I actually believe a good friend of ours here at the network, Josh Parker's face is out in the crowd as well. You'll see Dale Jr. out there sometimes. So it's kind of cool little Easter egg for the iRacing series.
Yeah, as long as we don't see Tim Terry's face in the crowd, I think the crowd looks all right.
Oh, I think Tim Terry's usually down there on pit road for the Coke Series races, so we don't have to see him in the crowd. But we kid because we care. There goes the pace car down pit road, gonna grab himself a hot dog. Green flag coming out one more time. Maybe he's gonna grab him a Big Mac. Ken Ellert leading the charge, stayed out under this last caution flag, so we'll see how those tires hold up on the number 23 car. And you can see Trevor Apsher trying already to get that high side to work, and side by side for second, side by side for third on back. And these cars kind of weaving and bobbing, trying to find grip, trying to find where the car is going to function a little bit better. And you can see, it looks like the 47 car actually just blew a motor or something along those lines, and a big hit behind them. 16 car involved once again, so might be getting close to that incident point limit there with that 16 car. But caution flag comes out once again.
Yeah, and you almost could have expected that to happen. We saw a lot of movement in the back half of the field, and just with all the pit stops, the tires don't have the heat in them yet, so there's a lot of movement in the back half of that field.
Yeah, and actually taking a peek at the Kong Beer Bong instant replay, the incident happens well in front of the 16 car. It actually looks like it starts with the 2 of Bobby Justice, but that's what the Kong Beer Bong instant replay is for. And there you see Alonzo King getting out of shape in the 47 car. Slides on up, and I'm having a hard time seeing what happened to the 2 cars.
I think it started with the 47.
Yeah, definitely started with the 47. There's a good shot of the RVs parked on the inside. Not entirely sure what's up with that, but we'll back it up. We'll take a look at it from the chopper here. So here's the 2 car, focusing on him because he definitely gets a piece of the action here. The 47 gets out of shape way up front, slams on the brakes in front of the field here. Really nowhere for the 2 to go, really nowhere for the 6 to go, and he bumps into the a couple of other cars here. We'll back this up one more time and find out what the heck happened to the 47 car, because it appears like it was on the you can see he was wrecking loose. Big time damage in the front of the car. Tries to get that thing, holds onto it, saves it, and overcorrects here about mid backstretch or so. So that's a tough break. A couple of quick cars here involved in that, and you can hear a few cars exploding the motors there. But back out on track, caution flag out, lap number 54. Kevin Ruff out front. Ken Ellert, you can see the car getting on by for the wave around. So it's Kevin Ruff out front, Ken Ellert, Kenny Capola, Trevor Absher, and Drew Moffitt currently in the top 5. And Ken Ellert did a pretty good job on that last restart with old tires.
Yeah, for sure. He seemed to do a lot better on this restart than the last restart. And the main thing I'm noticing up here is the top 10-ish. You know, they're keeping it clean. There's not been any, I wouldn't say stupid moves, but no dangerous moves. They've been just keeping their cars clean, and that's why they're at the front right now with a clean race car. And with these tracks and these cars, the race car needs to be clean to get your top speed. So those front 10 are making sure that they're going to be there towards the end of the race.
Absolutely. So working caution flag number 6 here. Crossing the stripe to start lap number 55. Going to pay a couple of more bills here. Watch a couple of commercials, but don't go anywhere because we'll be right back to cover the rest of the racing action. You're watching the Rattlesnake 150 here at Texas Motor Speedway. Don't go anywhere with ATV. We'll be right back.
you seen my kick-ass subscription box anywhere? Oh, there it is.
What's one of the biggest challenges of managing a fleet of trucks, tractor-trailers, and material handling equipment? Hassling with maintenance, repair, and vehicle breakdown. Trans Service's dedicated contract maintenance service, DCM, takes that hassle away. We maintain your fleet, no matter what the configuration, to the highest standards, while giving you the greatest cost control. We offer preventative maintenance executed to maximum utilization, equipment life, and necessary repairs, all tracked by a state-of-the-art paperless computerized system. Assistance with equipment engineering, configuration, including new engine technology, and onboard computers for your fleet, as well as dedicated fleet contract maintenance. Dedicated on-site service facilities staffed with management and certified maintenance technicians, inventories of parts, tires, and fluids, and all necessary shop equipment, diagnostic tools, and technology. Supporting services such as equipment inspections and assistance with meeting regulatory requirements, DOT, OSHA, EPA. Contact us today to learn about our turnkey contract maintenance solutions. It's all about the experience, yours and ours.
Back here getting ready to go green flag racing once again. The Rattlesnake 150 just past halfway. Big show. Paul Strickland Jr. Brandon Campbell in here making the call. Green flag is in the air. The number 8 Cabin Ruff going to start on the bottom side. Ken Eller with old tires. Up in the McDonald's number 23 Camry on the outside. Seems like he's holding on to his Big Mac. Doing a great job holding on to the number 2 spot.
A Big Mac sounds good right now, but it's 11:01 up here in Canada, so maybe I should wait till tomorrow sometime.
Yeah, no more McDonald's for me. Unfortunately, started talking to a personal trainer, started working out again. Very, very, very sore, but tired of being tubby. So we're hopefully going to go from the big show to the medium-sized show here shortly. But speaking of show, how about it? The showman, Kenny Coppola, cranking up the Sasquatch juice. He won the first race at Daytona, and he's going for the lead here. Race number 3 down the low and gets the job done. Gets around that number 8 car, the 77, up to the point. Trevor Apsher trying now to get on the bottom side of that 8 car to move himself into second.
Yeah, we see this top group here. Like I said, they've been up front the whole night. They definitely know what they're doing, and it's clean, it's good, and we have a few battles throughout, but there's a lot of room being given right now, knowing there's still 40 laps left, as Paul would say, easy for me to say, out of this 100-lap race.
And you can see the field just a little bit smaller than when we started. Kicked off the show with 33 drivers making the call, and currently rocking about 21 cars on the lead lap. Multiple cars from some incidents here earlier on in the race down on pit road, and a couple of drivers have retired from the event, but still out front going to be the 77 of Kenny Coppola, Cabin Ruff in a second, Drew Moffitt third, Trevor Apsher and Ken Aller rounding out the top 5, Tim Wortman Jr., Wade Palmer the 5th, Wayne Bowman, Dave Douthwaite, and Ed Boyles Jr. rounding out the top 10 with Tommy Kelly in the number 3 car, trying to bust that 3 car into the 10th position. And you can see the front 4 cars about single file or so. The 8 car testing the waters on the middle to high groove. And then back to about 5th or so on back is our first side-by-side battle. You can see Wortman down low, Wade Bowen up on the high side. And, a little close for Trot there. But lap 61 showing the action. Single file up towards the front, and a little bit dicey here about mid-pack.
And Paul, we took the private jet from Halifax to Texas, so I didn't get the points update. Who's the points leader right now?
That's a good question. We can look that up with the miracles of the internet here. We've seen that these drivers pretty much it's just like anything else. You win and you're in, and these guys no different than a lot of the leagues that we have here. And just looking up the simracerhub.com points right now. So if you wanted to follow along at home, you can pull up the master schedule, look for the Loose Lugz Racing Series. Tommy Kelly actually comes home with the Clash win. Secret Simulations 200 was Kenny Coppola at Daytona, and last week's winner, Tommy Kelly from Phoenix, in that number 3 car. And one of the cool things with this, you could look at the standings, look at the calendar, look at all the racing, and you can see right here that Ed Boyles Jr. is currently the points leader. Good, solid 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s. And of the 2 races, he's the only driver that has 2 top 5s. So a good, solid, even day for him. He's currently running in the 11th spot. So Trevor Absher has a top 5 and 2 top 10s. He is tied in second with Tommy Kelly as well. So looking real quick, looks like about 42 drivers have made at least one start in the Fatheads Cup Series, and they know they're doing some points racing. Points racing is very important, but wins are more important. Once you win, you're in that chase in the playoffs. So guys like Kenny Capola and guys like Tommy Kelly, they can kind of study just a little bit. They can see what the cars are going to do and what all they need to work on for later on in the series.
Yeah, for sure. And knocking that win off your list is so important. Where, again, last season in the Tim's Corner League, you get the showcase, you win, you're in, and I didn't win till the very last race. So, the pressure's kind of lifted off him a little bit. Obviously, you want to show up and do your best and win every race, but the pressure of needing that win's not there for those guys anymore.
It's a 24 race season championship race, January 26th of 2022 at Homestead, Miami, and top 4 drivers are going to be in that. Caution flag comes out once again. The 33 car Guy Bonafide involved and already down on pit road, and it appears that he has put himself out of this race. We'll back up to Kong Beerbong instant replay. We'll once again find out what happened to that 33 car, and looks very well like it might have been a single car event. You can see here on the replay, following along with the number 47 car of Alonzo King, the 33, coming out of the corner. I believe he just kind of loses the back end here. There you can see loses the front end. Pulls off the racetrack down on the apron and hits the brakes. So not necessarily a wreck, but looks like something going on with the 33 car. Just kind of pulls himself off the track, and unfortunately the caution flag came out for that. So the good news is it wasn't a racing incident, nobody involved, but the bad news is we're under caution once again here during the Rattlesnake 150 live at Texas Motor Speedway.
And Paul, for those guys on pit road, I don't know if they ran that car in the Stafford Tour Modified race or if they're supposed to be at this Cup race, but man, those cars are torn up, looking exactly like a Tour Modified.
Yeah, 100%. A great Tour Mod race at Stafford Motor Speedway. If you didn't catch it live or in person, you can check it out on the Flow Racing Network. Great to have Flow Racing a part of the Stafford Motor Speedway family. It's pretty cool to be able to subscribe to that. And I myself, I work with the Rent a Race Car team. Gary Spinato, Paul Verricchio Jr., the owners, and they rent out street stocks there each and every week at Stafford Motor Speedway. So it's always cool to kind of jump back, play a little Monday morning quarterback, as it were, and it's a great tool for a lot of these first-time renters or even second and third-time renters jumping in the race car. They're able to kind of very similar to iRacing. You can almost watch the replay and see what you did wrong and what you did right, and better yourself for the next time you get into the car. And if you wanted to check that out, check those guys out on Facebook, Rent a Race Car or rentaracecarct.com. Or if you have any questions, shoot us a message over on Facebook on the Vidane TV page. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. Been working with those guys for going on 10 years now. Made a lot of really good friends at the racetrack. And it's great to see, great to be able to go to the track and see all the sim racing friends and real racing friends kind of converge under the same roof, so to speak, even though there's no roof on Stafford Speedway, which would have been pretty cool with all the rainouts we've had this year. But I digress. Definitely check those guys out. Great group of guys. Lots of talent, lots of knowledge throughout. Gary Spinato Sr. was the most winningest driver at Stafford Motor Speedway way back in the day when they raced dinosaurs. Just kidding, we kid because we care. But before they implemented the weight rule, the weight rule. Once you win 2 races in a season, you'd have to add 100 pounds per win to the race car to kind of even it out just a little bit. Now Kyle Casagrande, the most winningest driver in the street stocks, and we'll be seeing him Thursday nights coming up the next NEP series. The New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Group, lots of drivers. Corey Casagrande in there. You've seen him all over the East Coast in his 7 CT late model. He's rocking a Vidane TV sticker on the back quarter panel. Saw him down at Jennerstown a few weeks ago. Zane Farrell going to be joining us as well in that same series. A couple of the admins and race officials for the next series. And it's always cool to see, these guys, each and every one of them, either we made mention, either race late models, they work at a racetrack, and they've all got their own fan bases. They let Twitter know, they let Facebook and all the different social media outlets know that they're going to be doing some iRacing on Vidane TV, and it's always great to see how many fans that just happen to show up to watch those guys do battle here in the iRacing simulator. So, and it's cool to see the 93 car out on the track in that field. Our very own Kyle Young jumping in and racing, I believe, a part-time schedule with the NEPS guys. I know he and I were supposed to share an endurance car for the road racing series that they've had, but unfortunately with myself and my work schedule didn't quite work out. But gonna be cool to see Kyle Young, see what he can do with those Northeast Racing guys. Big time race analysis drivers, announced at a couple of tracks, and has been doing race chasing for many years. I think last year or the year before COVID, 365 days in a year, he went to over 200 races throughout the year. So definitely very knowledgeable. Very cool to see Kyle Young and the NEPS guys come back, and want to thank those guys for allowing Kyle to jump into that field. And who knows, you may see maybe myself will try and swap out during the All-Star race or something. We saw Kevin England jump in the All-Star race, swap seats with Brian Macklin in the Sim 500 Trans Service Cup Series a couple of weeks ago. So heck, maybe I can try it.
Paul, I don't think me and Kyle Young are buddies after the TCM Smashed Potatoes final lap, but no, it's nice to see him. I have him as a friend on Facebook, and that guy's at a track, it looks like 7 days a week.
Yeah, and he just made the big move down to Race City, USA, down in the Cackalax. So very happy down there, and very happy up here in the booth. Lap number 69, nice. Getting the restart. Kenny Capola in the 77 down low, the 52 with Drew Moffitt up on the high side. Trevor Apsher, Kevin Ruff, and Wayne Bowen, the top five. Green flag in the air, side by side, thundering down to turn number one. Right now, I'm going to say give the advantage to Kenny Capola.
Yeah, it's been a great race so far, and it's insane with the iRacing service and how it affects real life, because I don't know if any of the guys in here race in real life, but I'm sure one day I'll be watching a race on TV and I'll say, oh look, I announced that guy in a race, and my first time ever in the Lugz Cup. So it's cool to see some of the guys you race with on iRacing and racing in real life. Like I was watching the Jenner's 10 race and I saw Casa Grande there, and it's just cool to see some of these guys on TV that I'm on the track with virtually.
And that's one of the cool things for myself as well, especially at Stafford Motor Speedway and short tracks, Waterford Speed Bowl here in Connecticut as well. It's cool to see, be able to walk around the paddock area. Oh, that guy was on Vidane TV. That guy was on Vidane TV. That guy was on Vidane TV. So it's pretty cool to see, especially when you're trying to show off in front of family and friends. But you can see here, working lap number 72, Kenny Capola cranking that Sasquatch machine as hard as he can, holding on to the lead. Moffitt in second, Ruff back there in third, and the battle is back here for about the seventh position, 3-4 wide in a gaggle of cars here. Tommy Kelly trying to move himself up in that three car. He's in the bottom half of the top 10, trying to get up into the top 5, but he's got to get around that 34 car of David Douthwaite first.
Yeah, it's a big group of cars back there, and they seem to be pretty smart with their moves, but as we just saw the Jeff Gordon lookalike go by, which, by the way, was my favorite NASCAR driver of all time. I'm not sure who yours was, Paul.
That's actually something we got in common. I grew up a Rainbow Warrior myself, which was always interesting because my old man was a senior fan, Dale Earnhardt senior fan, so we'd always watch the races together and kind of beef back and forth, 24 versus 3, but yeah, long-time Jeff Gordon fan here.
Yeah, my dad was a Matt Kenseth fan, so a lot of heated discussions during the races, that's for sure. But it's nice to see some of these guys, and well, actually all of these guys with real world paint schemes. We see Jimmy Johnson's lookalike coming across the screen, so it mimics a real life race.
It really does, and it's got kind of a real race feel to it. And we made mention all the drivers that you're seeing on screen as we got a battle for the lead. Kevin Ruff moving on down low to Kenny Capola. Just get right up to his door. You can almost put a zip tie between the door handles if these cars had them. The 52 wanting to join the dance as well. You can see he's all over the back bumper of the 77. Now he's going to dip down low, get around the 8 car, and slide on through as the camera kept switching between the onboard camera there for some reason. But there you can see the 8 car gets around, the 52 gets around, Absher gets around as well. Wayne Bowen down in the apron for one reason or another, all the way up the track. Holy moly! Makes contact with the 77. That 11 car, something is amiss with that car.
Yeah, that was very lucky there. You know, he was almost to the inside wall coming to the corner, which is definitely not where you want to be. And lucky for, I think it was the 77th car that he made contact with in the middle of the corner. Very lucky that not much came out of that. But we start to see, you know, the middle and the top groove really starting to come in now. So it's if you can get the runoff on the top, you're a lot quicker, but you're losing the center speed. So it's interesting to see which lane these drivers choose.
And you can see pretty much single file now for the front half of the top 10. These drivers are going to think better of it and try and see their where they're faster, do their homework, so to speak. And you can see now 3 wide. So just as I say that, they change up. Just when I thought they had the answers, they changed the questions, to quote the old Rowdy Piper. But Wayne Bowen trying to get himself up towards the front. He's kind of stuck in the middle. He's going to fall back in behind the 34 car of Dave Douthwaite. And everybody back to single file here for the moment. 23 laps to go at Texas in the Rattlesnake 150.
And whatever happened to the 11 car, it's definitely hurting him now, because he was close to the top 5 and he's really dropped back since that. So it might be a damage issue, it might be a tire issue, and we can't really tell from the booth, and that's probably why we're not in the car.
And you can see just a little, doesn't look like damage, but there's definitely some tire scuffs on that, so it may very well be a tire rub in the 11 car, having a tire go down. But it seems like he's kind of collected that thing. The 62 there, you see him on the outside. The 62 modified going a lap down there. A little bit of damage, well, a whole lot of damage on that race car. But still Kevin Ruff out front. Got quite a lead, about a second and a half lead over second place. Trevor Absher now in that number 2 spot. And he's holding off Ken Ellert, Drew Moffitt. There you see Ellert down on the bottom side, Moffitt up on the high side. And Kenny Capola has regathered his thoughts. He's sitting in the 5th position, but still a good group of cars here up in the front. Kevin Ruff is driving on away with these guys side by side for second.
Yeah, and he's looking through his rearview mirror now. He's seeing them side by side, so this is his chance to build that gap. And for him, he's hoping this stays green as long as possible. But for these guys, a little bit more contact there. These guys know they're coming to 20 to go, so I think it's got to be go time now as they come 3 wide up on a lap car.
You can see Middleman's trying to get down in the bottom side. Up, contact with the leaders. Gets into Trevor Absher, sends him down into the pit road, into the grass. We'll see if he's able to collect it. He indeed does, but he's just going to bring that car to a stop. Very frustrating for Trevor Absher. He's going to call the tow truck, but proverbial tow truck, he's done with 20 laps to go. That's a tough break. That's a top 5 car that unfortunately just got taken out by a lap car mistake.
Yeah, we've seen him up front right up until now. He's been top 5. He led some laps, and again, coming up 3 wide on a lap car, it's definitely not ideal. And with how close this track is, and it's a tri-oval, right? So the front straightaway is not completely straight like we see at most tracks. So it took some maneuvering, and unfortunately for him, it didn't end his way.
Unfortunate event, and it seems like it's kind of stretched out the front pack here. You can see some big time distance between the top 4 cars. A little side-by-side action there for 5th, but they think better of it. Dave Douthwaite going to jump in, and actually it looks like the leader, Kevin Ruff, going to come down pit road here with 18 laps to go, bringing Kenny Capola and Tim Wortman Jr. down here as well. So it looks like we got a little fuel mileage action going on here that we didn't even know about. So 18 laps to go. These drivers coming down pit road. I would assume everybody's going to have to come down and at least top off their fuel tanks and potentially get 2 tires, maybe 4 tires. We saw Ken Ellert try no tires earlier on after a 20-lap run, and it seemed to have held on okay. So this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, you'd think he'd have to come down again too, because I'm pretty sure he stayed out the last caution when everyone came in. So we're going to see if he comes in within the next few laps, and assuming this stays green, this will be our last pit stops of the night.
Top 8 drivers have still stayed out on track. Now Drew Moffitt, Ed Boyles Jr., Wade Palmer the 5th, Michael Miller, Jimmy Absher, and Matt Mack, and all of the Hendrick Motorsports cars down on pit road, as well as a couple of the JGR cars as well. Ken Ellert still staying out, leading that time by Dave Douthwaite, Tommy Kelly, Tyler Smith, and Sean Rhodes the current top 5, but we assume those drivers still have to come down and get service to those cars. But these drivers up in front, Tyler Smith now going to come down pit road, give up that top 5, and get some service to that machine. Josh Battles, there you see him in the 41 coming in behind him. So everybody coming down here. We've had a couple of cautions earlier on here, but it doesn't look like they were late enough to where the drivers could make it to the end of the race. Really going to shake up the running order here, and you really need to make sure that this spot is money.
Yeah, and if you make a mistake on a green flag pit stop, it can ruin the race for you. With, the yellows, you don't want to make a mistake, but it's a little more forgiving than these green flag pit stops where you lose so much time.
And I actually made that mistake myself the first time I was in a race in a very, very long time. I jumped in in one of the trucks. My Vidane TV calling Beer Bong Tundra for the Liberty Racing Series a few weeks ago. On a Thursday, we had the night off. As you can see, the 3-car going to go to second position. A lot of damage on that 3-car for Tommy Kelly, but he's going to come down pit road. Dave Douthwaite in the 34 going to come down and get some service as well. And Ken Ellert's still out on track in that McDonald's ride, but had a green flag pit stop. I got a little overzealous leaving pit road, spun around, and I figured, it's under caution. It's fine. I'll take my time. But little did I forget, the race was still green, so ended up losing a lap. Didn't quite have the finish I was looking for, but still a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll be able to get back into that Liberty Racing Truck Series on Thursday nights here shortly. But still 3 drivers at this point on the lead lap that have not made pit stops. Ken Ellert, you've seen him on screen. Sean Rhodes in the 42 running second and third. Pete Woodrum in the number 4. Haven't mentioned him all night long. Hoping for a caution flag at this point to potentially trap the field a lap down here. But you can see 13 laps to go. Ken Eller, he's trying to stretch it out. He's staying out, drives past pit road one more time there. So we'll see what the strategy is going to be for the last couple of laps.
Yeah, for sure. And we're coming down to the point where you don't really want to be pitting with 10 to go. But he stayed out, and he, so far, other than the second and third place car, he has the entire field a lap down. So if he can make it, he played that strategy perfectly.
And doesn't necessarily have to worry too much about tires. He's got a 15-second gap on the second place, and you're looking at that second place driver in the 42, Sean Rhodes, and you can see just how much quicker these guys are with tires. The 52 gets on by, no fuss, no muss, in the 5-car. You'll be able to see, especially in the corners here, the 5 using that middle line, gonna drive right on by that 42 car like he's standing still. So these drivers with older tires, with 11 laps to go, you can see the 41 now driving by the leader like he was standing still. So the old tires not nearly as fast as these guys that have just come down pit road, but making that gamble, trying to make something happen. I don't know if they've got enough to where they can make it for the rest of the race, but at the very least hoping for a caution flag for these top 3 drivers.
Yeah, for sure. And, these guys, they got to be struggling right now. I'm pretty sure Ellert's on about 40 to 50 lap tires, and they'd be destroyed at this point, at the point where the car won't... He's doing a really good job, but they'd be at the point where the car wouldn't really want to go where you'd expect it to go, and it'll slide up out of the corner, and it'll be loose on the exit. So he's doing a great job holding on to it, but 9 laps to go. We'll see if he has to come in or not.
Well, we can see here, we're taking a look at the stint length of the pit stops, and you can see 30-lap run, 36-lap run, and he's 25 laps in on this run. So I think he's got enough fuel. It's going to come down to tires, and I think these top 3 drivers know that. They're going to try and stay out here. You can see Tommy Kelly there in 6th position at one point in the race, made it 38 laps on a tank of fuel before having to come down. So I think these guys are going to try and gamble it. Kevin Ruff there in the 8-car driving on by to get his lap back. And I don't know. Ken Ellert might be in the catbird seat at this point. Holds on to a 17.5-second lead over Sean Rhodes. And he knows he's got enough fuel to make it to the end. So he's going to hope this thing stays green all the way throughout. Because if the caution flag comes out, definitely going to have to come down and get some tires. But I think at this point, he's got enough of a gap behind him. He's got most of the field at least 1 lap down, and he's got about 17 seconds on P2, just crossed the stripes, 7 laps to go. I think we might be going to McDonald's tonight.
Yeah, it's looking like McDonald's going to be the post-race meal, and that little graphic was really cool because it showed, Ellert only pitted 3 times this race, or only pitted twice, and this would be the third if he had to pit again, where Woodrum's pitted 4 times. So it's cool to see the different strategy being played, and so far, if Ellert can make it to the finish, his strategy played out the best.
And you can see on the left side of your screen the Bedane TV scoring tower. Wayne Bowen just drove around the leader to gain his lap back. That wasn't for position, and you can see he's really just knocking time off there. So still 16 seconds of a lead. Rhodes has definitely got a little bit fresher tires, a little bit faster car. He's breaking in about a second a lap, maybe 3/4 of a second or so. There you can see 3 of these cars going to drive on around the outside to get their laps back. Coppola, Wartman, and Douthwaite. There you can see now 8 cars on the lead lap. I don't know. I think if this thing stays green, Ken Ellert's going to be sitting in the catbird seat.
Yeah, and you notice Ellert, he just got completely out of the way when those guys came by. He knows in 5 laps they can't catch him, and he knows that he needs this race to stay green for him to win. So he's going to get out of everybody's way as much as he can, and if his strategy plays out, it definitely worked out for him, because with coming to 4 to go, none of these guys can catch him unless he runs out.
And you can see Kevin Ruff there in the 3rd spot. He's 20 seconds back, and you can look just how quickly that time is dropping. But I don't think with 4 laps to go, he's going to have enough time. He's definitely going to catch and pass 2nd place, it looks like. You can see Sean Rhodes in the 42 car still holding that 2nd spot. That time isn't going down nearly as quickly as the number 8's time. And you made mention there, you see the 23 minding his P's and Q's, getting out of everybody's way, because he knows he's got the strategy at this point. Going to cross the stripe with 3 laps to go. If he wrecks, he doesn't win. So he wants to make sure he's out of everybody's way, wants to be able to let these guys go on by, and he wants to be able to finish here in victory lane. And there you can see, we'll pull it up, Sean Rhodes is going to be under attack here very shortly. You can see on your screen now a little bit loose as the 8 goes underneath the 51, and a little bit of damage on the Sean Rhodes machine on the number 42, but there is the pass for 2nd. And the 42, just like our leader, knows that the tires are shot on that race car, so he's going to move on up the racetrack, give plenty of room to Kevin Ruff, and he's got 15.5 seconds to make up, and you can see, look at how quickly that timer is dropping down. But with popsicle sticks in the air, 2 laps to go for Ken Ellert, I don't think, well, there's definitely not going to be enough time unless the caution flag comes out here, Brendan.
Yeah, for sure, and I've been watching closely to the difference that Ruff is making each lap. It's 2 seconds is quite a bit, but when you're 14 seconds, 13 seconds behind the leader with 2 to go, it's not enough time at all. So as long as everything goes well for Ellert on the end of this race, coming to 1 to go, this is his race.
A white flag, a white rag in the air. This race is official, and look at how quickly that timer is dropping. Kevin Ruff must have made up about 8 seconds the last lap by, but he don't think he's going to have enough time to get around and catch the leader as long as Ken Ellert keeps that car clean, and he can see, giving everybody all the room that they need. He just needs to limp it through 3 and 4 at this point. Hope the tire doesn't go down. He's been on those tires for over 30 laps or so, and you can see just really struggling. He's out of fuel. He's out of fuel. The 23 car is out of fuel. Is he going to have enough to make it to cross the stripe? He does. Oh. He does. 1.5 seconds in front of Kevin Ruff. We are going to the McDonald's drive-thru here after this race. The 23 car of Ken Ellert comes home with the victory after running out of fuel coming out of turn number 4. Man, oh man, how about that?
Wow, for my first Loose Lugs Cup race, this was insane. He planned that strategy perfectly, and we asked ourselves after the 2 yellows when everybody came in and he stayed out, we said, what's he doing? And well, we just found out what he was doing. He ended up winning the race and running out as he was coming out of turn 4. So, 1.5 seconds not a big gap when you're running out of fuel, but he got it done.
And we saw just how quickly Kevin Ruff was able to close the door, but didn't quite get there. 1.5 seconds. If that racetrack, if that start-finish line was another 100 feet down the road, I think we would have saw a different car come home in victory lane. But Ken Ellert, with the strategy victory here in the McDonald's number 23, doesn't even, I don't think, have enough fuel for a burnout. So going to coast that thing down around to victory lane. Now he's going to go out and hang out with the fans there on the front stretch. Looks like he's going to get a little bit of a push there from the 37 car, and great race here at Texas Motor Speedway, the Rattlesnake 150 for the Loose Lug Cup Series. Race number 3. 3 races in, 3 different winners, and this is going to shake up the points for sure.
Yeah, that was insane. For the first time here, I couldn't ask for anything different.
And there you can see the leader parking right there on the start-finish line, and we're going to catch a word with these top 3 drivers throughout the field here. And we're actually going to catch up with our third-place driver, Wayne Bowen, in the number 11. Came home in third. Great race here, Wayne.
Wow, was that a tough race or what? Whew.
Absolutely. Everything's bigger and hotter in Texas, and the Rattlesnake 150 was no question a good, solid race. We saw a little bit of strategy there towards the end, but it's one of those things. Did you get into the race? Were you kind of planning on short runs, long runs? Did you have any strategy coming in?
We figured there'd probably be a lot of short runs to start out with, and everybody settled down. We'd get some long runs in, but I messed up in qualifying. It put me in mid-pack, and then I made my way up into the top 10, and after that first caution, I got loose in 3, and, spun through the infield there, and luckily, stayed out, caught a caution, and restarted from the back of the field and come all the way through to finish third. And I get to you, yes, a good run there, good hard-fought battle. But on that last pit stop there, I knew those guys. I'd burned my tires up getting up to them. So I just said, when I get inside my window to the end, I'm gonna try to short pit them. And I figured, with the extra time you make on new tires, I probably could pass about half of them in front of me. Was hoping to get a top 5 if it worked out. So third place finish, it worked. So can't complain. But just a good overall race, a hard-fought battle, and a big congratulations to my teammate Ken there on winning the race. He made it on fuel mileage. Good job, buddy.
Yeah, crossed the stripe and ran out of fuel. We're going to have to watch that victory burnout at the McDonald's drive-thru later on here tonight. But
that's the truth.
Great run for the 11 team. Want to give you an opportunity here to thank friends, family, sponsors, and whoever makes it happen for the number 11 team.
Yeah, I apologize. I got to get better at our sponsors. Like I say, Loose Lug Nuts. I know we got the button box, and I'm not sure. I'm going to get everybody in next time I get a podium finish, though. But, just thanks to Jimmy. Jimmy, Hampshire team owner there, he runs with us, too. Give us good cars to race here. And, and just a good team effort. We put a lot of work into it, and we had fast cars. Thank you.
Absolutely. Great top 5 run. Podium finish here for Wayne Bowen in the number 11 car. And actually going to kick it over to Brandon Campbell down there in Victory Lane. First race here for you, Brandon. I'm going to let you do the victory celebration with Ken Ellert.
Oh, man, this is insane. Ken, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
That was a great run, man. And we were asking ourselves on those restarts where you stayed out, was there strategy being played? So what, did you come into the race with the strategy, or did it just kind of fall into place as you were going along?
No, it just fell into place. I mean, when the first pit came out, my system told me I had 18 laps to go, and I didn't think we were going to make an 18-lap run. So when we did the last race of the last season here, we followed that same strategy to stay out pretty much as long as we could. So it worked out for me. I mean, I ran out of fuel going into 3, but coasted across.
Yeah, and you couldn't ask for a better played strategy there. So coming down the backstretch, I assume the car started to sputter. What was going through your mind? Did you think he was going to catch you?
I've got a separate monitor, and I knew I had more than 10 seconds on him. So I figured I was hoping I could make it. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, for sure. And we watched the time difference from the fresh tires to the old tires, and he was coming, but it was just a little bit too late. But it was a great strategy, and it was fun for my first time here. So who would you like to thank on the car for this race?
Well, I would love to thank Olivia, who is probably watching right now, and our teammates, Jimmy, our coach, who is great, Wayne and Trevor and Chuck, and I mean, there's new guys, Drew and Tyler. We all get together, we practice, we get a lot of give and take on, strategies and how to drive the corners. And I mean, it's just a great team. Thank all of the sponsors. Like, as Chuck said, I have to apologize. I don't know who all the sponsors are yet, But thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Thanks to all the admins for running the league.
For sure.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had a blast up in here calling this race. And just one last question for you. Are me and Paul allowed to come to McDonald's Victory Lane with you or no?
Absolutely. McDonald's for everybody.
Big Macs on Ken. Perfect.
That's right.
Congratulations on the win. Good run tonight.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to slide on down pit road a little bit further. Cabin Ruff comes home in second, almost past the leader twice within a 10-lap stint there towards the end. One to get his lap back and almost a second time to get the victory. I think if we had another 100 feet of racetrack, Cabin, you would have come home with a victory.
Absolutely. Definitely had a fast car tonight. The Richard Childress Racing number 8 Goodyear Caterpillar Chevrolet was a rocket.
Yeah, car was bad fast all night long, and we saw that 4 fresh tires towards the end of the race. Able to pass these guys that kind of stayed out and on strategy, just much bigger time difference, and we were able to close in 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds per lap, but didn't quite have enough time, and just didn't have enough racetrack to get up to the lead. But second, still a solid finish here. Good points night as well. Did you come into tonight thinking short track or a short run, long run, any kind of strategy coming in, or just kind of
I always come in projecting a long run. You know, the other pro leagues that I run in, you know, I'm used to the long run, so I always like to have a car set up for the long run. But I had a bad fast car short run. I mean, when we had restarts, I mean, I was nailing the restarts. I was really shocked by that because usually I'm kind of 50-50, but it's like every restart, man, I was passing at least 2 or 3 cars if I wasn't in the lead. I had to do a little bit of tweaking on the right rear springs on the third pit stop, loosen it up just a little bit. We got some rubber on the track, so it kind of gripped a little bit. So it helped loosen it up a little bit, and she just got faster from there. So it was a really fast car. You know, led 25 laps tonight. Ken had the strategy tonight, you know. I may have had the fastest car overall, but he definitely had the best strategy because he finished first, you know. So
absolutely. 3 races in, 3 different winners here for the Loose Lug Racing Series, and we're off to the road course going to Coda next week. You got anything for the right-hander?
I'm be blunt, not at all. A lot of practice. Just had another league that I'm in. We just finished up our playoff run there, so I got more time to focus on this one coming up to Coda. So I'm actually excited. I'm not a big road course guy, but you know, some of my teammates and Alliance teammates, you know, Tim and them, they're going to get me ready for it, and I just want a top 10. You know, the first 2 races this season, unfortunately, had some incidents, so it's really nice to come home second. You know, it would have been really nice to lock myself in the playoffs, but good points day, I'll take it. And once we get to another oval track, I'm going to go out there and try to win it.
100%. And a 2-parter for the final question. Give us a list of some of the leagues you run, and give us a list of the sponsors, friends, family, everybody that makes it happen for that number 8 team.
I run for Evolution Racing Network, so we've got a couple leagues in there, but we've got RSR, which is a really big Cup Series 1 fixed series, and then I also run in their Next Gen. I do a little bit of broadcasting myself on the side for Evolution Racing Network. So I'm really involved with them. I'm actually a board of directors member on that one. So just a really good league overall for anybody that's interested in fixed leagues. But I've always wanted to branch out to the open setups, and Tim Wortman and me, we've always been good buddies on here. And he finally sent me the invite, and I was honored to have the invite. And you know, I'm just really excited for the season, learn more about the open setups, and try to compete for a championship.
Good deal. And definitely going championship caliber, coming home with a podium here tonight. Great finish for the Rattlesnake 150. We'll see you next week, Dakota.
Thank you.
And that's going to do it here at Texas. Brandon, great race here. Awesome time. First time in the booth here with the Loose Lugs Cup Series. What did you think, man?
Oh, man, this was awesome. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come up here and pretend to call a race. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm still learning, and I'm learning from the best, I guess. I had a blast.
Definitely did a good job up here in the booth. And taking a quick peek at the weekly schedule here for Vidane TV. Off for, nope, just kidding. Multi-League Cup Series tomorrow night at Michigan. Going to be racing to find out who is going to make it into the championship playoffs. And you can see Thursday night going to be the home of the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing group throughout the fall and winter. Their schedule's over on their Facebook page as well as ours. You might have to scroll through it. But then we're off for a couple of days and then back at it next Monday, the Sim 500 Trans Service Cup Series at Daytona for 80 laps. Final race of the regular season. Going to find out which of those 16 drivers going to get into the championship. And then back here next Wednesday, little doubleheader action. Tim's Corner Motorsports bringing us Tim's Corner Live, episode number 29, and the Loose Lugz Cup Series right after. We made mention Circuits of the Americas next week. So a little Texas to Texas action. I think Coda's in Texas. Pretty sure it is anyway. But that's going to do it here for us tonight. Loose Lugz Racing League Rattlesnake 150 here at Texas in the book. A little bit of fuel strategy by Ken Eller to come home with the victory. And we'll catch you guys on the flip side. When we do, we're going to be doing it live.